Chicago Bulls came into the game tonight riding a three-game winning streak, hoping to push it to four straight games. They did not achieve that goal, but still some positives to take away from this game, as well as some concerns. We're going to talk about it, break it all down, have some fun, as only we can do right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content. And the Bulls got a double-digit loss today against the Los Angeles Clippers, 102-112 in favor of the Clippers. The fourth quarter, really, third and the fourth quarter, really doomed the Chicago Bulls. Only 17 points scored in the fourth quarter of this game, whereas the Clippers scored 29 points. That's more than the deficit they ended up losing by. A stronger fourth quarter would have had the Bulls right in there. Yet another weak performance from the bench. And Billy Donovan really has to start looking at something with the bench. I get it. Playing Torrey Craig, 13 minutes. Playing Erlen Lop, 10 minutes. Andre Drummond with 12 minutes. And Julian Phillips with 5. You get 7 minutes from Javon Carter in this game. I really think that the Chicago Bulls bench, now that everybody's healthy, would benefit from having a clear-cut rotation. I understand the point of wanting to see who has the hot hand. I understand having different players depending on the matchup, but I think right now, for example, we're not seeing the best from Javon Carter or seeing the best from Julian Phillips. With them playing less than double-digit minutes, I think you got to make a decision. And then, if one of those players is playing bad, all right, you make an audible there. But Billy Donovan's reluctance to move away from Javon Carter, who does have that money, is going to kind of hurt the team. Again, I'm not saying that Javon Carter is not going to have some games where he plays really well for the Chicago Bulls. He will. But I think that that's kind of where it is right now. Now, that wasn't the thing that really hurt the Bulls the most in this game. I want to be clear here. That wasn't the biggest problem in the game. The Bulls got out-rebounded. We talked about how the Los Angeles Clippers were only the 20th rebounding team in the NBA. The fact that the Bulls got out-rebound, those type of things are really going to hurt the Bulls in a game like this against the Clippers. And they just had more of an edge in this game. It was evident in the second half of this game. The first half, the Bulls looked really, really good in the first half of this game. Winning both the first and the second quarters, went into halftime with the lead, and then they ended up losing, letting that lead come down some. Getting outscored by 9 points in the third quarter of this game. But the Bulls, like, as much identity, as much as this team has been really good in the clutch, we just didn't really see that in this game, and it was evident for the Chicago Bulls. Second chance points in favor of the Clippers. They outscored us by 5 with second chance points. Points in the paint, 52-36. We talked about how the Clippers aren't a high-volume three-point shooting team. Matter of fact, the Bulls, they shot the same amount of three-pointers, but hit more than the Clippers. So the three-pointers weren't the issue in this game at all. Those points in the paint, huge discrepancy there, unfortunately, for the Chicago Bulls. And then the turnovers, 12 turnovers for the Bulls. Yes, the Clippers had 13 turnovers themselves, but the Bulls' inability to take care of the basketball really affected this game big time also in that. And then when you look at points in the fast break, we were tied in that area. So that's, not something that really hurt the Bulls, unfortunately. And the Bulls lose a game where they led the game for almost 30 minutes in this game. They had the lead and just were not able to hold on to it. And that's an unfortunate part of this game. They just, it sucks, right? But like I said, the Bulls, especially in that first half, showed some really good things in the game. We just weren't able to hold on. DeMar DeRozan going 8 of 19 in this game, 0 of 3 from three-point range, 10 assists from DeMar DeRozan, though, on top of those 24 points. Nikola Vucevic continues his really good streak, 22 points on, unfortunately, 22 shots, so not the best efficiency there, but also 11 rebounds. And Kobe White, 7 of 16, not terrible, 3 of 9 from three-point range. That's 33%, a little bit questionable there. He also had 5 rebounds, 4 assists in this game, 5 turnovers as well from Kobe White. You got to take care of the ball better than that. Almost half our turnovers coming from Kobe White alone in this game. And then Ayo Dosunmu has 13 on 11 shots. Alex Caruso with 9. But that's really it. Andre Drummond didn't really have the impact on this game that I thought he was going to have. He plays right under 12 minutes in this game. So the Bulls, they go back to it. They every single one of these games over this West Coast trip was a clutch game. And so eventually that's going to catch up to you. It caught up to the Bulls today. Let's see what a day off when they come back. I think they play Monday, and I don't remember the opponent Monday off the top of my head. Let me look it up real quick. They face Dallas on Monday, who's had their own struggles. They're coming off a really good game as well. And unfortunately, now the Bulls are now 2 games below 500. The Hawks actually win their last game as well. So we lose a little bit of that grounding on the Atlanta Hawks, unfortunately. We're now only 1.5 games over the Hawks. They're on a 3-game winning streak. So the Bulls can't keep losing games because the Hawks, despite the injury to Trae Young, are right on their heels with trying to get that ninth seed. So we'll see how the Bulls kind of look into that, man. But it overall, it's unfortunate that the Bulls could not pull out a victory today against the Los Angeles Clippers. And they had their opportunity. They really did with the stronger fourth quarter, despite what happened in that third quarter. I think the Bulls could have potentially been in this game. They just didn't execute well enough to do it. And that's just what it comes down to, man. You're not going to win them all, especially when you allow so many clutch games. You can't hold on to leads. That's going to come back to bite you in your ass at some point. It bit the Bulls in their ass today. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They bit the Bulls in their ass, and they paid for it with the loss. So, that's what it comes down to, man. But let's go ahead and get into the comments and see how you guys are feeling about this. We've got Rob in the building, says, sucks we lost, but still happy with the road trip. Hopefully they win at home next stretch of games. Agree with you wholeheartedly there, right? Like if somebody would have told you with the opponents that we had on the docket that the Chicago Bulls were going to be able to come out of that being a 3-1, most people would have took that, man. Most people would have took that. So, I'm trying not to critique them too hard on it. On tomorrow's daily episode, we'll really look at what this streak really meant for the Chicago Bulls and what next week's schedule looks like. But the Bulls, next week, they have another game at home against Dallas. They go out on the road to Indiana, and then they play 3 games at home between March 14th to March 18th, and that's against the Clippers, the Wizards, and the Portland Trail Blazers. That's going to be an important stretch for the Chicago Bulls. Again, another game against the Clippers. We saw this game went, but that Washington-Portland back-to-back, those are teams that the Bulls should be able to beat. So, to get those wins there, again, Dallas, Indiana, those are 2 winnable games for the Bulls as well. They're going to have to play really tough in that. And we'll see how the Bulls do, man. We are gearing up. We only have about 5 weeks left in the season. We have 18 games left in the season. The season ends April 14th as far as the regular season. And we're going to see how the Bulls can really, play over that next bit of hump there. Rob says Carter only should be used based on matchups if there's smaller guards on the opposing teams because lack of size hurts. Well, here's what I'll say. As long as Javon Carter historically does good against guards, period, whether they're a little bit bigger than him. But, here's the thing that I'll say. If Dalen Terry's ready to go, I kind of at this point would rather see Dalen just because he offers more versatility defensively and he's a better passer. So, we'll see. Saint Guru says pick and roll defense is killing us. We got to learn how to play better defense on that. But 3-1 road trip, I'll take that. Let's get some wins at home. Completely agree with you there, brother. Completely agree with you. We just them Howard a little. What? I don't know what you mean by that, bro. Don't know what you mean by that. That doesn't even make any sense. The jacket's so raw. What the fuck, Haize? You got Jerry Reinsdorf handcrafting your Bulls gear or what, fam? First of all, if Jerry Reinsdorf was making Bulls gear, it'd all be trash. Utterly trash. That's what it'd be trash. Jerry Reinsdorf. You think Jerry Reinsdorf can make gear? No. I'm just that thorough, bro. I'm a thoroughbred. This is what I do. I dress fly and I give great content. That's what I do. Period. It's the Clippers, though. I'll take that non-blowout loss. We were almost there, but the Clippers are a really good team. Facts. Agree with you. Completely agree with you on that one. I ain't gonna lie, we could have beat the Clippers game. We just got too comfortable with the lead as usual. I mean, the Bulls, and that's one of the things that I put as far as some of the biggest concerns I have for this Bulls team in the postseason, right, is that our inability to close out games. We just don't have that yet. Now, it takes teams a while to learn how to do that. But like I said, a 3-1 road trip, I'm not going to be too mad about that, bro. Don't worry. One thing about the Bulls, we've been playing with heart. I completely agree with you there. Completely agree with you. A lot of heart. The clutch play from the Chicago Bulls has been really good. Can't deny that. Can't hate on that too much. So, but yeah, things have been really good. 3-1 on the road, can't be too mad at that. Yeah, and the Bulls have they have the ninth best record since like December. So I mean, we've been playing much better. And I know these losses suck, especially losses where you give up a lead and they were winnable games. Those suck big time. But the Bulls are gonna hold on. I think they'll come out on the other side of this better, man. I really do. Zach LaVine looked like Adden Ross. That's funny. Why are we so allergic to 500? I mean, listen, we're a team that is still learning. Like a lot of our major pieces this season, outside of DeMar and Vooch and Caruso, they're learning. They're learning. I mean, we've been missing Torrey Craig a lot this season. Pat Will's gone. This is Kobe's first season being this type of volume player and impact player. Like it happens, man. And here's the thing: is that you go 3-1 on a road trip where you face all teams that are above 500 except the Jazz. I like the way that the Bulls came out in that, man. I like the way the Bulls came out in that. But yeah, I had to come in here, chop it up with y'all. I know Big Kev and Steve-O held down the post-game show. But listen, it doesn't feel right. At this point, it doesn't feel right in my life to not do a post-game show. So I wanted to come in here. I said I'd come in here, chop it up a little bit with y'all. We'll have a little hanging with Haize. It is what it is there, man. But I do think I'll say this, and I'm not trying to make any predictions or anything like that. But with the way that the Bulls have played on this road trip, I'm starting to think that the Bulls can get to 500. Now, it's going to be determined by, I do think, can they beat Dallas? Can they beat Indiana, right? The Clippers is going to be another tough matchup. If they can get to that Washington and Portland game that they face on the 16th and 18th, if they can get to those two games, winning 2 out of the next 3, I feel pretty good about the outlook on the Bulls for the rest of the season. I really do. It was annoying watching the team blow another lead. I mean, that always sucks, right? Especially when you've seen this team and the way that they can play at times, right? And you typically were trained to look at that. You'd be remiss not to look at that and say, hey, why is it that we can't just close out these games? And that's something coaching, that's something the players are going to have to look at, and they're going to have to ask themselves that, because the last thing you want to do is make it into the play-in, and then your inability to close out games is what the thing that holds you back. One thing about the Miami Heat, they know how to close out games, right? Regardless of wherever they sit at, they know how to close out games. The Indiana Pacers have been a team that's had their own struggles, but they typically close out games. And by the way, Ben Mathurin going down out for the season is wild. But yeah. If they won on a losing streak, we would have blamed it on you not doing a post game. LOL. That's hilarious. Jordan, another one in the building, says Kobe had them butter hands today. Yeah, almost half our turnovers came from Kobe White alone. That really does suck. Kobe's averaged 2.2 turnovers per game on this season, so it's not like he's typically turnover prone. That's still a lot of turnovers, but you want to. It's unfortunate, man. But I'll say this: it wasn't just Kobe. I think that it was part of the defensive game plan by the Los Angeles Clippers that helped put Kobe in some bad situations. So, and that's the next step of Kobe White's development. And how does he overcome things like that? And so we'll see what happens with that, man. Hopefully he's able to do it sooner rather than later. But this are all learning opportunities, man. Orlando scored 74 points last night. That's crazy. That's wild, man. But yeah, so I mean, listen. I still feel really good about this Bulls team. And I know not everybody does. The daily episode I posted today, the title was "The Things Aren't as Bleak as Some People Try to Make them out to be" for the Chicago Bulls. A positive update on Lonzo Ball, so shout out to that. But, we know that this is a team that has tons of things that they still need to work on, that they still need to get through, that they still need to grow through. And because of that, I give them a little leeway with certain things at times. It's not as easy to go from that step of being a team that's just beat the bottom feeders to like that closes out games against good teams. The Clippers are a good basketball team, a really good basketball team. They're a championship contender. And the Chicago Bulls, for the most part, went toe-to-toe with them. And if it wasn't for that breakdown in the fourth quarter of the game specifically, even though I know we had a breakdown in the third quarter too, do not get that wrong. But if it wasn't for that fourth quarter specifically, the Bulls could have won this game. They could have definitely been in this game. So Bulls 5-5 over the last 10, same record as the Atlanta Hawks over their last 10, even though the Hawks now are on a 3-game losing streak. The Hawks are the only team in the play-in picture right now for the Chicago Bulls that are on a winning streak. Matter of fact, if you look at the bottom six seeds in the Eastern Conference. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The only team right now with a winning streak is the Atlanta Hawks. So, it is what it is. We're going to see how the Bulls come out on the other side of that. They get to go back home, and let's see if the Bulls can get some home cooking, start getting some more wins in there, and let's hope that that's the case, man. Bulls got to do better than gonna do better than y'all think. I would not be surprised with that at all. Now, I would, like I just said, that inability to close out games is definitely concerning. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Wouldn't be surprised if they do. Really happy about this road trip. I'm actually excited to see what the future has for this team. Completely agree with you. If they can get a young big in this draft, man, I tell you what. Offseason is going to be interesting for the Bulls, considering the last stretch of this offseason will weigh in on that. I mean, here's the thing. I know a lot of people see and they see the Bulls winning and they say, oh, the Bulls are winning. I think that absolutely means AK is just going to run it back. I'll say this. The last time that we had some questions around this team, which was when we traded for Vooch and we almost made the playoffs, some major changes happened. We technically have more assets and and cap space this upcoming offseason than the season when we added DeMar Caruso and Lonzo Ball. So they just got to take this front office to be creative, right? And, with Zach LaVine, whatever goes on with that trade request, things like that, you never know what's going to happen, man. Haize really put in work. Give this man a like. It takes a tap of your finger and helps the creator upload times. And it definitely helps with that. Like, the thing is I always say this. I want to provide value for you guys. Pigeon, what are you doing down here? What are you doing down here? Not you, low-key. Talking to Pigeon. You're allowed down here. What's up, son? Hey, babe, don't lick my face. Don't do that. Black people don't do that. All right. I love my dog. But yeah, so like, let's just hope that what I want to provide value for this channel. And I always said I want the people that subscribe to the channel to feel like they're getting value. So don't feel like if you like and subscribe to the channel, I'm going to pay that back tenfold. I promise you, with content, especially over the off season. With all the solid news we got today regarding the injuries to Zach and Lonzo, the win we have would be the cherry on top. Hey, that's not a bad way to look at it. It was good seeing Zach and Zoe on the bench today. It was. It really was. What were the percentages now of which seeds they end up with? Because it's definitely changed after the last few games. You know what? That's a good question. Hold on. I can tell you that. Give me 1 second. Come on. I don't know. Is anybody else's internet just moving slow today? Like, I don't even feel like it's mine. I feel like everybody's internet's just moving crazily slow today. So right now, the Chicago Bulls. Why can't I find it? Here we go. So the Bulls right now have an 8% chance to miss the play-in tournament. They have a 52% chance to make the play-in tournament, and they have a 14% chance to make it up to the 6th seed. So that's where everything sits right now. Philly collapsed too. Yeah, Philly. Hey, but I tell you what, Joel Embiid, when he comes back, I think that may change big time. Despite the loss, I have confidence in this team. They aren't going to win a lot of games, but they have shown that they can compete any team in the league. Well, that's the thing. You say that, but they have won a lot of games. They have the 9th best record in the NBA since December. Like, that's not anything to just act like it's not something there. There's something to that. There's definitely something to that. Kobe and DeMar playing heavy minutes and could play a major problem in the final stretch of the season. They may not have enough come playing. I mean, here's the thing. That's definitely a possibility. I don't want to act like it's not, but let's not act like we're also getting healthier. Torrey Craig's coming back, right? I mean, he's back. He's working himself up to get off that minutes restriction, but he's back, right? Which is going to also force that right there is going to change a lot for you, because then at that point, I do think eventually probably going to move him back to the starting lineup. You're not running Alex Caruso against fours anymore, right? So I think that there's a possibility that I think it also we got players in like Erno Lop is now in the rotation. He's not playing a whole hell of a lot of minutes, but he's in the rotation. He hasn't played a lot this season. G League, yeah, but so he has fresh legs. Julian Phillips is playing, more consistently. We want to see it get even more consistent than that. So I understand that Kobe and DeMar definitely have been they're number 1 and 2 in the league in minutes played. You can't overlook that. But I still think there's enough there that they could be okay. So definitely changed for that. So yeah, it changed. It changed. Not like you said here, not a whole lot. And I'm not worried about. Listen, the thing is, I'm not worried about the Bulls getting up to the 6th seed. I'm worried about it. Like if they can get to the 8th seed, only have to play that one game. That changes a lot, right? But like I said before, the worst thing, if the Bulls do get eliminated from the playing tournament, it's not the worst thing. We've seen this team give tons of heart. They play great in clutch, and then at that point, we get a lottery pick. And I know that we don't have a lot of odds to win that lottery, but I tell you what, I'll take some odds rather than no odds if we make it out the playing tournament and then we don't get a lottery pick. So I would take those odds more than not just to give a little bit extra to the extra chance to the Chicago Bulls. Yes, this is a weaker draft. You can still get a lot of talent later in this draft, right? Because it's weaker as far as superstar talent, right? There's not a lot of prospects that you look at reaching star level talent, but there are a lot of prospects all throughout the first round that can be long-term pros in the NBA. Yeah, role players, some high-level role players, but if the Bulls draft well, you never know. You never know. Was at that game. Bulls looked good early. Second half just didn't work. Yeah, they just didn't have enough in the second half. The Clippers executed better, they played better, and they're the better team. So fresh legs are underestimated. Yeah, for sure. Especially for a team that's played this many. The Bulls have played the most clutch games, which means their games are close in the fourth quarter of games. They've done that more than any other team in the NBA. So, if they do run out of those, if we can't have those fresh legs, it's gonna help. It's definitely gonna help. Delbert trolling again says, "Bro, what's up with Zach? Can we trade him for you?" Listen, come on, like y'all shouldn't want to see Zach traded for nothing. Like that. That to me, there's no reason logically to say let's just trade Zach for anything. It doesn't. I get that fans get upset about stuff, but hey, it is what it is. Best on the drip. I see what. This I put this on after we got back home. Me and the kids got back home, bro. You think I went out? I mean, I will go out in my Bulls drip, but you know. Yeah, true. Whatever happens. Yeah, and that's why I say, like, the way that I look at it is this: the Bulls are playing with house money. If they keep winning and they make it to the play-in, they have a good showing in the play-in. Cool. You've now showed what this roster can do, and I think that you've shown that regardless, right over this last stretch. If you make it to the play-in, which the Bulls are all but guaranteed to make it to the play-in, and you don't make it out the play-in tournament, you then get some extra chances at having a higher draft pick because then your pick becomes a lottery pick. If the Bulls didn't own their own first round pick this year outright, I'd say I'd probably be more leaning towards no, we need to make it out that playing tournament. But to me, you're playing with that house money. It's going to be a win-win regardless for the Chicago Bulls, considering how this season has gone for the team. I'm not really upset about this loss. None of us expected them to win one game, let alone 3. How do you feel, Haize? I just hopped on. I didn't realize you were doing a live stream now. I feel good. I feel good about this. Like 3-1 on this road trip. I would have taken, if somebody at the start of this would have said, hey, the Bulls are going to go 3-1 on this road trip. They're going to lose a game because of a faulty fourth quarter. I still would have took it. So right, I would have been ecstatic at that, considering the competition that we played. I'm just happy to see the development of the young players and can't wait to see them get some playoff experience. I completely understand that. Me and you've talked about that for sure. We've also had the most overtime periods that's added to the minutes. Facts. 100% agree with you on that one. Kobe and DeMar leading the league in minutes is crazy, especially Kobe, who didn't even play 23 minutes a game last season. Now he's leading the league in minutes played. That's crazy. Has Zach talked about his the team level play since he's been out today? Just curious. I haven't seen anything, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't. I just haven't seen it yet. I just want to see some Bulls playoff basketball, man, even if it means seeing them get destroyed by Boston. See, that's the thing. I'm focused on what's going to get the team better in the long run, right? Yeah, it'd feel great to say, hey, the Bulls made the playoffs after starting 4-15 on the season. Zach goes down, Patrick goes down for the season, whatever. It feel great to be able to make the playoffs to say that. But here's the thing, that could be a flash in the pan. Then what if we don't make the playoffs next year? If the Bulls, like, I'm always going to root for the Bulls to win. Let's be clear, never going to root for the Bulls to lose. If they don't make it out that play-in tournament, it's not the worst thing in the world. You get a lottery pick. So Haize, you said the draft is weak, so the Bulls might as well try to win. It's not like Cooper Flag is in this draft. See, that's where you go wrong, Big Diesel. Just because the draft is weak doesn't mean you can't find talent. Jokic was in a technically weak draft. Tyrese Halliburton was technically in a draft that was supposed to be weak. So you still want, again, and I'm not saying you can even find those level of players, but if you can get you a player that you can develop and that's going to turn into a high level role player for you, that's much better than fighting and just just to get eliminated in the first round per se. It depends on how you look at it. So when people say weak drafts, you have to understand what they mean by weak drafts. It doesn't mean there's not talent in that draft. It just means there are not a lot of star level talent in this draft. But there's still some really good talent in this draft and teams that are going to help that can help teams for years and years to come. So there you go there. I like the Bulls in the play-in. It gives the young players some sort of playoff experience. I'd rather have that lottery pick than get swept by Boston. See, again, I feel you on that one. Y'all got to stop acting like Cooper that nice. Listen, Cooper's nice, though. And the thing with Cooper that I'll say with this is that he has a high floor, and that's what makes Cooper special. He has a high ceiling as well. But at the minimum, Cooper Flag is going to be a strong defender with a really good three-point shot that can also do some passing, right? He's like Kirk Heinrich supercharged. And we saw the way that Kirk Heinrich was able to impact winning, right? So Cooper Flag, that high floor is what makes him the special because the way he is defensively, you know, at least he's going to come in and be able to give that, at least at the very minimum. Kobe might not win most improved. Do you think he could be most clutch player? Could DeMar win it? Oh, is that an award now? I forgot about that. I don't care about that award. I don't give two shits about that award. I don't really care about that. Did Batum play? If so, how did he play? Didn't get to watch today's game. He played. I mean, the bench overall was largely disappointing in this game, is what I'll say. So almost anybody from the bench, that's how I feel about him, to be honest with you. He played 10 minutes. He got 6 points. He went 2 or 3 from the field. He got 1 rebound. For his role, he did good. But overall, the bench gets I just was not happy with the way the bench performed in this game overall. Cooper is 6'10", and he play hands and can defend. Basically, he's not a franchise player to me. There are better players in his class. I got to disagree. I think he has the highest ceiling of a lot of players in that class. Now, I would not be surprised if some other players in that class turn out to be better. Be clear there. And I also think there's a little bit of that hype that we talk about before. Steve-O knows what I mean, but we'll break that. I mean, we won't be breaking that down for another year. So, to come back this time next year, I'll be giving that prospect a breakdown on Cooper Flag to see how it continues to grow. If the team hit his first 2 threes, I would run the next play for him all day. I mean, listen, I don't disagree with you on that one. Bulls got to draft Caitlin Clark. That's hilarious. That's funny. Haize, if you think about it being named most clutch players, higher honor than most, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's just not. That's one of those made up awards. That's like a participation trophy. No, it's not. No, it's not. He ain't even killing it in high school. That doesn't mean anything. Like, we've seen players not kill it in college and turn into great players. So you got to look at the skill set, right? In high school, it's kind of hard to judge as well because, not every player in high school is meant to just go off. They don't come from that type of system. Now, here's what I'll say is that Cooper Flag's ceiling, what would you say? Probably a Sean Marion type with better defense, even better and better rebounding. But it's still the prospect of that, right? So you got to see. I mean, Ace Bailey in that draft class is really good as well. Dylan Harper is another good one in that draft class. But we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. Talking about most clutch players is better than most improved. No, it's not. Nobody gives a shit about that. I guarantee you, nobody cares about the most clutch player award. Nobody. The NBA just did that so they can create more trophies and give it to people. That's all that is. But all right, y'all, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. I just want to come in here and talk about the game a little bit. Shout out to Steve-O and Big Kev for holding it down on the post game show. They did a great job. Thank you guys for supporting them as well through that, man. But yeah, we'll see what everything turns into, man. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to send a text message and or voicemail to the channel, 773-270-2799. But yeah, I love you guys. Go Bulls. See you, Reg.